Hello, and welcome back to Living in Fear, a horror film podcast. I'm Mia, and I'm living in fear.
I'm Luis, and I'm living in fear as well.
All right. Today we're talking about 28 Days Later from 2002. Tomorrow we'll be talking about 28 weeks later. And the next week, 28 years later. So yeah, a lot of 28 things coming up, which I'm excited about.
And then 28 decades later.
Yeah. I will say that we have both seen this before. So this is a rewatch for us. It's been a while, though. I did a little bit of research, so that's a first for this podcast.
No, we did a bit of research on Rec, remember?
Well, you did. But yeah.
For you mean.
And I didn't remember it. That was Rec 2, and I didn't remember that, at all. So this one I feel like I remembered enough of. So yeah. Spoilers ahead.
Yeah, I don't think I remembered that much of it, but I was afraid it was not gonna hold up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a really good movie. But yeah, we'll get into that later.
I feel like I watched it last year or something because it had been a while, and then I was like, I really want to rewatch this and see because I remembered liking it. But there's still certain parts that I, for some reason, forget about. Mm-hmm. And also, I think I watched The Night Eats the World, or whatever that movie's called, last year, sometime after watching this, and I think I just started to get parts of them mixed together for some reason, because there's some similarities. But yeah, more on that later. First, what have you been up to?
Me, well, I wasn't ready for this question. What have I been up to? We've been playing Hollow Knight again.
Yeah.
I think we finally agreed that whenever you get frustrated, you'll hand me the controller.
Yep.
And not actually try to push through.
Yep.
A boss fight or a section.
Yep.
It is really hard. It's a really hard game. I don't blame you if you need help. But
I will say again and again, it's what really frustrates me is having to go back so far. Mm-hmm. I lose all my momentum, and I have a hard time with that with games. I don't like having to go back to my last safe spot or whatever, and then go back and kill my soul or whatever it is to reclaim all my stuff. Even that is a whole nother thing, because if I die before that, then I lose everything I have at that moment.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of the time when I will hand it over to you. It's not even always just the boss fights. It's I don't want to spend, and it's not it's that much time, but it still is enough time that I get grumpy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worked out. We have a good flow.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's just, it's a different type of game. And yeah, I feel like with you, I feel like there's gotta be, I feel like I need to be more proactive about how to introduce you to certain games. I feel like I went around about it the wrong way with this one. And I feel like you're not loving it because it is so frustrating. So maybe we should have made some rules at the beginning, hey, if you can't beat a section the second try, just hand it over, and then, or maybe I'll take care of these certain things, and then you take care of these. I still don't know what I could have.
Yeah, but done. You really wanted me to do the whole thing by myself.
Right, which was, I feel like that was a mistake.
I know myself, and I know I don't like the type of games that do this kind of Souls games and stuff. I just don't they're not for me, and you've tried to get me into like Bloodborne even,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, I can't. Like, I know myself, it just gets me grumpy, it stresses me out. It's my time off. I don't want to be stressed right now. Like, but I do really enjoy learning the like flow to bosses and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and like seeing myself improve and then like be able to like get better and better each time I'm like fighting the boss. I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah.
But also then like I'm not good at jumping things. I've never been. We used to do Destiny like raids, and there were like certain parts where you had to like jump from platform to platform and that, and I just was really bad at that then too. Like the whole team would be waiting for me and cheering me on.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were a couple times where I just had you do it for me because people were waiting. So like this is a game where, you know, you have to jump from different things and over thorns and spikes and dodge enemies at times, and I'm not good at that stuff. But yeah, I think if this was a different game, I wouldn't continue because I don't think I would like enough about it, but I think I there are enough things that I do like about Hollow Knight that I continue it.
Oh, good. Cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been doing that. We kind of finally quit Blueprints.
Yeah.
We recorded some type of podcast for that. Who knows where that will end up? Not on this channel.
Yeah. I don't know yet. I'm not even I'm not even sure if I'm gonna post it, to be honest.
Yeah, I won't blame you. So yeah, simple things.
Sometimes I feel like I'm getting into this mindset where I feel like I must make everything like a content or a podcast. And I don't want to start doing that. But at the same time, it's like, why do we do anything? I know this kind of sounds like like I'm depressed or something, but seriously, like, why do we do anything? Like, why do we watch movies, or why do we play this repetitive game? Why do we, like, I feel like there's gotta be something we get out of it, and so that's why I'm kind of getting in this mindset. Well, if I played this 50-hour, 70, 80-hour game, maybe I should like do something with it, right? Not just, all right, move on to the next game and completely forget about it. You know?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's also probably because we listen to a lot of podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
and so I feel like when you're like listening to other people talk all day, sometimes your inner monologue really goes hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, I have all these thoughts in my head I'd like to get out. It'd be kind of fun to sit down and record something. And I think the second you hit record, it becomes we're talking about this thing now. Let me get all my thoughts out.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, I don't know, walking around and talking about things, eating dinner, and just chatting. Like, you'll say a few things and then like move on to something else. And that's why this is fun.
Yeah.
Each week we sit down and we actually talk for, you know,
Mm-hmm.
an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. And it's just something that we know every week we'll have this time together, and other people might not care about these questions that we ask each other and stuff. They're just probably like, get on to the movie. But yeah. I don't know, it's fun. It's fun to get to know you a little more and get to know myself even a little more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I keep doing the questions.
No, this is good. I like the questions.
Cool.
And I like doing this. I don't know about you, but I am liking...
You know I do. It's fun.
Like, I wish there was more we can do, but I guess we should just take it one step at a time.
Yeah. That's cool. And I think we improve, and I think it's good to have to think about what you're saying a little bit beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do I say this in a nice way? How do I explain my thoughts out loud? And it's also making, as someone who consumes so much like media and content, as we all do nowadays, it makes you stop and actually think about what we just watched
Yeah,
versus watching it being done and moving on.
that's kind of the core to what I was getting at. Is like we do consume a lot, right? Just
Yeah.
anybody in general. We consume, TV shows or movies or video games or whatever, books, like there's got to be more, like, I don't know, there's that saying with that Tim, what's his name, that one guy that tells you how to make money or whatever. Tim, is it Billy Robbins? I don't know, this guy that has like a bunch of books and a bunch of well, he always says that you should always try to create more than consume. And I really feel for that philosophy, but it's also really hard to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're always just consuming, and never really putting anything, to create or to make something out of it, of this thing, of whatever you're consuming.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. That's what I'm. That's what I'm doing. I guess
Okay.
that's what you're doing too.
That's what we're doing. Most of our "What are you doing? What have you been up to?" is very much the same. All right.
Oh, also,
Question time? Yes.
we should say that we got music. We finally have music. I don't think we've ever.
Oh, I
mentioned
know.
it.
I had that on my note, and then I always forget to actually say it. I have that's like my first note. Yeah. From what was his name? Scott Ark?
Yes,
Or
Scott
something?
Ark.
Yeah, I was looking up like copyright free, royalty free, whatever music and like somewhere like interesting ones. And I came across this Reddit post, of course, it was Reddit, about someone advertising the fact that they have like a horror audio library with over 120 files, completely free to use for any project. It's just this guy, he has a YouTube channel and he posts music for people to use. And so I told Louise about it and I linked one of the ones that that really stood out to me and I really liked was called The Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luis went to his channel and he picked out like 4 and like kind of synced them up and saw how we felt about them. And I narrowed it down. I was like, definitely not this one, but these 2 are my favorite. 3rd one's okay too. And he was like, well, I kind of liked this one and it was The Abyss. So that's the one we went with. We both liked that one.
Yeah. So the Abyss, the Abyss is like his collection though. So like I think this particular song is like, I think it's called like Creep or like Creep Reprise or something.
Okay.
But yes, music by Scott Ark. We're gonna always put it in the description. I've been putting it in the description, by the way.
Oh, have you? Good, thank you. Yeah, that was like on my note, and then I just kept missing it, unfortunately. So yeah, thanks, Scott Ark.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, question time?
Yes.
Should I go first then, since I'm kind of more leading this?
Sure.
Okay, so my question of the day. What daily comfort would you miss most in a dystopian type setting?
Daily comfort.
So it could be like your bed, getting food from the fridge, TV.
Yeah, it would probably be some electronic thing, right?
Okay.
I don't think I would ever miss. I feel like I don't know. I'm not as attached as to food as most people are. Would you say? Would I be dying if I don't have something?
No, I think you are pretty good at like adapting without the things, but
Hmm.
if they're here, you'll enjoy them.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're the type that's like, man, I'm really craving this. I'm going to go out and get it right now. Not very often, at least.
Yeah, I think I always just dread eating anything because I feel I overeat sometimes and it just makes me feel like crap afterward. And it would be nice to just be forced not to eat or to be disciplined with your eating since you are in an apocalypse. Does, does that sound weird?
A little bit, but I get what you mean.
um,
Sometimes that's just humans.
yeah. But yeah, I want to say more electronic stuff. So like video games, that's something we're never gonna ever do again. Like
Yeah.
even if you do find power or something, and find a working TV and a working console or a PC, like it's just like where you everything I feel like is so digital now. Like all the games and all your products are so digital that
Also very linked to the internet.
yeah. So yeah, if you don't have internet, then you can't access them.
Yeah.
Um, what's that quote from this movie where she says, "You're never gonna see another movie that hasn't already been shot," or
Yeah.
what else does she say?
Hear any original music.
Yeah, that's probably something that we'll definitely miss.
Yeah.
Like horror movies.
I feel like the music thing though, I was like, I don't know, I feel like
Yeah, people could still.
people would still create
Mm-hmm.
music.
Yeah, that's true. But
I
yeah,
mean, people
go ahead.
I was just gonna say people created music before like recordings were around and songs would get like passed along from, village to village or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like so yeah. But I get what she meant. And I get what you were saying with not having access to those.
But we're never gonna create any more video games or movies, and it'll take such a long time. Like if society did come back to normal, I feel like all that infrastructure is just gone, and so we'd have to start from the beginning. So
That's
it's
really what I want to know. There's got to be like research on that, right? On like how long it would take for like society to kind of get things up and running again.
yeah.
Obviously, it wouldn't be the same for a very long time, if ever, but getting infrastructures up and everything. And I'm just very curious what that timeline would be
Mhm.
like.
I feel like it'd be, I don't know.
You're not starting from scratch, but it is just like, especially if it's
Mhm.
something where like a huge portion of the human population is just gone.
Yeah. I mean, it would take a while for art to start coming back. I feel like we'd have to deal with just surviving first and trying to get a good flow of just living. But
Yeah,
it'd
but
take even longer for art to be made, especially like digital.
I think, yeah, digital art or like the sharing of art, but I think people,
Sure, people can paint and you know
but I think even like
compose.
people would put on, little plays for each other, like things like that. Like I think art is one of those things that gives people great comfort
Mm-hmm.
and it's a form of entertainment. So even when times are hard, the artist will come out.
Yeah.
And that's something really cool about art and artists and performers and.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll see. Maybe society does get back to normal in 28 years.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, neither of us have seen the trailer for it, right? I think I saw like a teaser trailer that was like very short and didn't really show anything.
The only thing I've seen is Killian Murphy, all bloody. That's it. One photo of him.
Hmm. I just saw that like infected guy that people thought was him, but wasn't. Um,
What?
so
Yeah.
my
What about you?
my answer is kind of lame, but it's something I always say even now, like going camping and stuff like that. The bathroom.
Yeah.
I like being able to use my own place. I like being clean. I like showers every day. I like brushing my teeth. I like using a toilet. Like all of that is I think I could, sleep, uncomfortably, but anywhere if I had to and if I was tired enough. And think food, I like food when it's here, but again, it's something that I think I could just be okay if I didn't have things. You just learn to adapt without it.
Mm-hmm. I think
And
I think you would adapt to not having a toilet, right? I feel like we
I
would.
I would still, but I would miss it. Being able to like wash my hands
Mm-hmm.
anytime I want. Like it's just a whole like bathroom situation. Like I don't like feeling gross and sweaty and dirty really. I mean, I'm not a little princess. I'm not like a super girly girl or anything, so let's not say that, but I just, I grew up with a mother who was a little bit OCD about stuff. And I don't mean that in a like trendy way to say I'm OCD,
Yeah.
but like I really think she. So yeah, that's my lame answer, but I think that's very true to me.
So the toilet.
I mean, the whole bathroom situation, but toilet is probably a big part of it. I don't like using public restrooms even. Like even at work where our toilet and bathrooms and sinks and everything are all pretty clean, I just still
Hmm.
I don't like it.
Hot water.
Hot water. Yep.
But don't you think that I feel like we would endure that for a while, for a little while, but eventually we like if we are somehow able to survive this apocalypse, I think we'd figure something out with the toilet situation and just running water or power, right? Wouldn't you think
I
so?
mean, yeah, but that could be said with like a lot of things.
Yeah, but some things just aren't gonna come back, right? But there are
Yeah.
other things that we're just gonna have to we some in some way they'd come back. Like some sense of normalcy.
That's my answer.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
like being clean. My hair gets greasy.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about the next question?
It's yours.
All right. If you woke up in an apocalypse, would you try to survive alone or find people?
I would have to find people. I'm like, I mean, maybe if I had my dog or something, then I'd be okay without like finding other people. But, and it's not even just the fact of like needing help or anything like that. I think I'm a pretty self sufficient person. I think there's a lot of stuff I could just figure out and do on my own. Um, but yeah, as much as like I am not a people person, I
Mm-hmm.
talk about hating people and everything, but I'm not like a lone wolf as much as I would like to think I am. At the end of the day, like I need a small select group of people with me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm good in life. But I'm very introverted and very shy, and so when I go out and about in public spaces and I'm by myself, I feel like even more shy than if I have like someone there as my safety net.
Yeah.
I'm fine. But also like I don't know, I feel like so much of life is living and sharing moments and experiences with other people.
What
And
about
so
what if it was just you and me?
uh
Like, would we try to look up or look for other people, or just, you know what, let's just make the best out of the situation and just survive as long as we can? I mean, we have each other, so we don't need anybody else.
yeah. Um
I'd get if you were alone. You're like, well, I can't.
yeah. I don't know, I think it would just depend on the risk factor, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think having a community is important, and I think as much as like we love each other and everything, like, and I think we probably could be very happy just the two of us. I mean, we hang out with each other every day. We're not always like out and about with other people, but I still think having other connections is important. And if it was kind of like safe to look for other people, we'd probably want that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody, people need people as much as some people would claim that's not true. Or they
Yeah.
think that, oh, I hate people, I don't like people, I just want to be alone. But I feel like at the end of the day, you do need some type of interaction, or else you'll end up going crazy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, life can be very lonely.
Yeah.
And, you know, different people offer different things to your life. Yeah. So would you try and find other people too then?
Yeah, I think so. Um, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, you know me better than I do. So, like, I feel like I would be more trusting where you wouldn't be. So maybe,
Yeah.
so I'd probably get myself killed trusting somebody I shouldn't have trusted. But I guess that's just the risk you're willing to take if you're in an apocalypse and there's just so few people left.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would try to find people, but I feel like, you know, take a lesson from this movie. I feel like at the end of the day, I would end up getting myself killed for trusting the wrong person.
I mean, yeah, but if I'm there to help you.
Yeah, just be like, nah, I'm getting bad vibes from this dude
Yeah.
who has 10 men in his company, all military. I don't even think they're military.
Yeah. Well, on that note,
Well, what
want to jump
about?
into it?
Oh yeah. That's sorry, you did answer it already too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
We talked about the
Let's.
military. I
Mhm.
want to talk about some of that.
Yeah. Let's
I
do
have
it.
some thoughts. All right. So once again, 28 Days Later, 2002. I mean, so technically it was released first in the UK in 2002, and then later in the US in 2003. But everything says like 2002 next to it, so that's what I went with. It is written by Alex Garland, directed by Danny Boyle. The IMDb summary just says 4 weeks after a mysterious, incurable virus spreads throughout the United Kingdom, a handful of survivors trying to find sanctuary. All right. What did you think this time around?
Can I say first, or can I ask? Do you know Alex Garland from anything else?
I feel like I do. The name sounds really familiar.
Or like in general, how do you feel about this director. Like I probably should look up what he's.
So Alex Garland is the writer.
Oh, the writer. Okay.
So he's written a lot of things I like.
Oh, he just did
Um,
Warfare.
yeah. Never Let Me Go, I liked. Ex Machina, liked.
Oh yeah, Ex Machina.
Annihilation,
Annihilation. That's right.
Men,
Mm-hmm.
Civil War, Warfare. Yeah, I knew his name.
Okay, so far I've liked all his movies. Then
And then,
I haven't seen Warfare though.
see, that's the one I really want to see. I wanted to watch it in theaters because it seems like it was a good one for that. And then Danny Boyle, the director, he's done 127 Hours, 28 Days Later, Slumdog Millionaire.
Hmm.
He's again doing 28 Years Later, which I'm happy about. Yeah, he's done a decent amount too.
Cool. Yeah. The reason I asked because Alex Garland is directing the A24 Elden Ring movie, so we'll see how that
Oh,
goes.
okay. Maybe that's why I heard his name recently too then. Yeah, no,
But
I like his stuff.
yeah, and yeah, so do I do like Danny Boyle as well, or all his films as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like I was skeptical because I feel like I hadn't seen it in like such a long time. It's probably been more than 10 years,
Wow. Okay.
right? Because it came out in 2002, three. So I must have seen it when I was in high school or something. Yeah, because 2002. But yeah, I was surprised that I really still love this movie, and it really holds up.
It
It
does. Yeah.
and it is a really great classic movie. That's just it is. I feel like I could call this for being a zombie film. Like it is sort of a piece of art. I would say like it has more themes going for it, more like deeper themes, and it's just very like vibe and tonally different than anything that we've ever seen from a zombie movie.
Yeah. Have
Uh,
you have you seen any of like George Romero's like Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead
yeah,
or
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and those movies are way different too, I think, than this one.
Yeah.
And then this one does feel well. I'm curious to learn more about it since you do have all the facts.
I don't
Um,
know how many have, but
it does feel like an indie movie. It feels
yeah,
like
so
as well. It feels like an indie movie, but also it feels like they must have closed off a bunch of streets, and that must have cost a lot. So I don't know exactly how India was if they required for these crazy closures, you know. Uh, but yeah, I'm curious to see how much the budget was for this.
I think it was 8 million. I have it written down. Oh wait. Yeah, 28 Days Later is 8 million.
8 million. Okay.
Yeah. So 2002. I mean, that's still like
Yeah.
it sounds like so small in today's times, but like, with inflation it'd be more than that, but that's still even for that time I would imagine is a small amount for like a movie.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were expecting it to blow up as big as it did. And I don't know if it like blew up right away or not. I didn't actually like write down that information, but I mean, it's an iconic film that people still talk about now,
Yeah.
23 years later. Um, So yeah, it does say on the like IMDb trivia, one of the things is for the scenes on the motorway, the production got permission to shoot on the M1 on a Sunday morning between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. The police gradually slowed traffic in both directions using 10 cameras. The filmmakers managed to capture a total of 1 minute of usable footage. So it does sound like there were like, and I think I saw somewhere else, I don't know that I wrote that note, but that they would like stop traffic for like 10 minutes and let them film these like scenes like chunks at a time in these like really well-known areas of the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So they had to film super quickly, like everything needed to be on point. Like
yeah.
we only had 10
And
minutes.
then, like I had mentioned when we were watching it, there's like the double-decker bus that's like on its side.
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen, I think it was in the making of. So I read some trivia on IMDb, and then there's like a whole making of behind the scenes, like 30-minute video on YouTube that you can find. There's also the whole commentary with like the director and writer, I think, for the movie, but I just didn't want to watch that and then rewatch the movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just felt kind of out of order. And, um, but yeah, they had mentioned that they asked if they could do that and then they were denied it. And then the day that the shooting came, the people that like were the ones to say no weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, I guess nobody's here to say no, let's just do it. So they ended up like putting it on its side and filming it, which is just kind of like that's cool, you know.
I wonder if they got in trouble for that.
Probably not. People probably just never showed up, and once it's done, it's done. There was a lot about um, the type of camera and stuff it's filmed on to give it the certain type of look,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all stuff I didn't necessarily understand because I'm not a big camera person.
Well,
So I
I
used a
gotta
type of
say,
slow motion feature, Canon XL1 DV cameras.
I was gonna say that it does. I feel like the movie looks older than it actually is, and it is
Yeah.
just because the style that it has.
Hmm.
Like it's probably the camera work or the lens or something. But everything does look very bright too. Like almost everyone has like this glow to them.
Yeah. Um, and then it says Boyle explains that the cameras allow filming at up to 1600 frames per second versus the normal, which is like 24 or 25 frames per second. And shooting at such a high speed on a DV camera doesn't produce the same effect as it would on a 35 millimeter camera. So shooting at that speed on a film camera gives basic slow motion, but doing on a DV camera produces a kind of staccato effect seen in scenes involving the infected.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna
So
say.
that like kind of choppy look.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, I was gonna. There's no slow motion in this. Like I don't see it. It is just this like
Yeah.
choppy look, which is cool. It really is.
No, it's very stylized, and I like that it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it was totally its own thing. I did find it interesting though, like some of the shots, because it would some of the shots with the infected versus like them was kind of disconnected because it was looked like it was shot differently, which at times reminded me of more of older movies like Night of the Living Dead or something where it would like show the infected, like you could tell that was a totally different take from the one of like the person reacting versus nowadays I feel like those transitions are like smoother, but
Mm-hmm.
like back then, even with like, you know, movies like The Birds or something, like they would like show like something crazy happening and then like cut to someone else, but just like the angles or something seemed like different.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like match up, and I feel like that's a little bit what this felt like, just probably because of those different film styles with the infected versus the main characters. But I liked that about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I yeah the I feel like every time the infected are being filmed or shot, it just feels
Chaotic.
yeah, it feels chaotic and it's always close up.
Hmm.
and it's also a very good way to like maybe I don't know how to say it. Maybe it just hides some of the cheesiness that would be like just a person just growling and flailing their arms, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but with this sort of effect, like it just kind of hides that, and it's very close
Hmm.
up, so you can't really see it clearly. And
Yeah,
so
it's
that
kind of
make
like jittery, choppy. It's very,
so
and they're
that
supposed to be.
go ahead.
It's like rage is
Hmm.
the thing, right? And they're
Yeah,
supposed to be acting like they have like almost rabies or something. And I, yeah, the way they did it really made the infected feel scarier and more threatening. And
yeah, yeah. If that was the intention, they killed it with that.
yeah, no, I think it was very creative filmmaking, and
I wonder
I,
if the new one would are is going to do some of the same techniques. I feel like they
yeah,
won't, but and I'm not. I don't quite remember 28 weeks later if they did the same thing. So we'll
I know
see.
28 Weeks Later is a bit more like Hollywood filming
Yeah,
feeling. It's, yeah, like it doesn't look as, I don't know.
low budget.
Yeah. And like low budget in a good way.
Hmm.
Like everything seems a little too like pretty. But I think there's still like some of that in 28 Weeks Later, but I think this one is just better overall. But I think, the other one has like some good moments too, and I'm very excited for the new one. So we'll see.
Yeah, me too.
Um there was like a note that says that the whole film was shot almost entirely in sequence. I don't think that's true though, because then I saw other stuff that like didn't add up, so I think that trivia is not true. Is there anything specifically you would like to talk about before I mention any more facts?
Yeah. I completely forgot about the beginning.
What?
The scene with the monkeys.
Okay.
Uh,
About how it like happens, the outbreak?
mhm.
Okay.
Which seems kind of odd.
It almost feels a little bit like a different movie, right?
Yeah, I think it would have been fine without that scene.
Yeah.
I don't know what their intention was with it because there's this group that's trying to save the monkeys. I don't know. You can maybe like
Yeah.
this.
Animal rights activists.
Yeah. Uh, but then they end up releasing them and causing this world collapse. So in
Yeah.
them trying to do good, they actually did something bad.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, was it really their fault if these scientists were all doing it already? And like, I don't know exactly what their point was with that, and especially if it didn't really come back around. That sort of theme is like, oh, hey, this whole virus was released because some people wanted to save the animals, and because people are testing weird things in labs. But also, I don't know if this was a man-made virus. I didn't get the impression that it was. It was just these monkeys just were infected with something and they were trying to study it or find a cure. Yeah, because even the doctor said, "Yeah, we're trying to find a cure."
I th- uh I don't
Right?
I don't know. It's maybe something was infected first and then they were trying to find a cure, but it seems like they probably infected some of the apes on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
the monkeys on purpose. They're apes, right? Um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that could be. That's probably a better theory because they were, and I find this completely. The scene was so out of the ordinary that I was like, "Am I watching 28 Days Later?" But when like the monkey is is tied to the chair and they're forcing him to watch all this footage of wars.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what that was about, and I'm like, does this really belong in this movie? Like, what is this? So that's my only gripe with, with this movie. Is like, what is this first scene? Like, what is it trying to do? How did you
You
feel
know,
about this?
yeah. I feel like maybe there's some meaning behind it that we're not necessarily picking up on. I think it's also just a way of showing how does the outbreak happen. Um, the virus is called Rage, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I guess they're seeing maybe how these animals react to these like horrible scenes and these like rage-inducing scenes. It's just showing like the horrors of society and humans and everything, right? But yeah, I don't.
So now I'm wondering if this lab came upon these monkeys with a virus, a rage filled virus or whatever, and so now they're testing them, and they're also that's the reason why they have this monkey chained up is like to see how they would react with the virus in them to these like things on the screen. But I still don't understand why you would even test that. You know? Like
What if they?
if you're just trying to find a virus cure or like an antidote in case you want to use it for weapons, like what are you doing testing these monkeys with like these screens?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit reminded me of a. So in A Clockwork Orange, the
Hmm.
guy is forced to watch like horrible stuff, right?
Yes, I think so. It's been a long time.
So in that little Google search, says it's a form of aversion therapy where Alex is forced to watch violent films while his eyes are held open. This technique is designed to condition him to associate violence with extreme discomfort and aversive stimuli, effectively curing his violent tendencies. So do you think it's like related to that type of thing?
So they're trying to cure the monkey by making it watch
Maybe.
all this stuff?
I mean, isn't he trying to look for a cure? Isn't that like what he like even said? So maybe that's yeah, maybe this is like an aversion therapy type
I mean, that still doesn't
thing.
make sense to me. This is
I don't know, just that's what it
it's a biological virus. Well, you don't need therapy for it. You know?
yes, but I don't know, that's just what it reminded me of. I'm not saying it's related to that, but that's definitely like what that particular moment reminded me of.
Mm-hmm.
But they're probably also doing trying vaccines and things like that too, right? I'd imagine. But it also seems like this is a lab that's I feel like when you see other outbreak movies or something, it's usually in a lab that at least has like some type of like protocols and like more of a lockdown type of situation versus like I don't know, these people came in and then the doctor like called a thing, but there wasn't any like button to push to make all the doors lock and everybody get locked inside or anything, you know?
Yeah.
So it seems like this lab is I don't know, maybe a little sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And it looked a little bit more run down than like some labs that they show. So yeah. I don't know. I think but there are those people that, you know, think they're doing good and helping and then bad things happen. And
Yeah, I guess if, even though to me this doesn't make sense, I guess that is the sort of the reason for it, right? You try to do good, and no matter how much you try to do good, it's something always just is out of your control, and you just
yeah.
it could
And
eventually lead to this.
I think it kind of ties back to later on when the soldier that's infected is chained up. And the guy's like, oh, I'm studying him. I'm seeing how long it takes for the infected to starve and stuff. So, like, isn't that kind of... He's running his own experiments, so it kind of ties it back to this doctor running experiments on the apes.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, yeah.
it's just to show the sort of the doom of it all. It's just hopeless.
Yeah.
And it's really
And
just
also
waiting it out.
You question the morality of testing. So it's like, I'm an animal person. I completely understand why people are against animal testing and would want to break in and release those animals. But then you have the other people that are like, but we can learn so much from this.
Yeah.
This is a horrible thing that these apes have, and it can be passed on, so we need to learn how to control it and get a vaccine for it or whatever. And I wonder if the doctor knew that it could pass from animals to humans at that point, though. Because he freaked out like he knew. So I wonder if it had happened to a person yet.
Yeah. I mean, I would say so. But anyways, let's not spend the whole podcast on this one scene.
Okay. Well, speaking of the infection and the pandemic, that was like a huge portion of the like making of featurette is like all about the infection and creating this world and the fear that humans should have over like a potential pandemic and everything. And it's funny because that was before we actually had the, 2020 coronavirus pandemic, and them just showing this like invisible threat and how we've been lucky that there's not a huge threat of things transmitting from like animals to humans, but if they did, how much worse it could be, and how, one day that really could happen and could be serious. It says the design of symptoms for rage were based on Ebola with aspects of rabies. Ebola spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids, such as blood from infected. Symptoms include fatigue, fever, weakness, decreased appetite, muscular and joint pain, headache, sore throat. Bleeding is definitely something that can occur, internal and external. Bleeding from mucous membranes, vomiting blood, coughing up blood, bleeding into the whites of eyes. And those infected all show symptoms of decreased blood clots. So that's like a big part of like why the bleeding happens. So that's obviously, you can see that a lot in the infected. They have, bloodshot eyes. They're like vomiting up blood. It's just those symptoms times like 1,000.
Yeah, that's really good research. Yeah, I love all this. I still don't know exactly how the zombies work. I do commend the movie for making the zombies look unique and filming them in different ways, so we don't actually get to see clearly how they actually function. Like, I don't know how smart they are. Like, are they still human? Do they still remember things? It seems like they were doing things that normal zombies would not do, like climbing up stuff or going through doorways. Like, like it wasn't just a mindless zombie looking for its next victim and just crashing into everything. No, like they were actually going in and out of doorways to like chase people.
Yeah. Did you pick up on the little boy said something?
No.
He says, like, I hate you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn,
He's like, I think the only one that, like, speaks. But I found that interesting because that's not something that you ever really hear any zombies ever speak.
yeah. Yeah, that's creepy. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if it's like, if there's still some remnant of the human in them,
Yeah.
and maybe it's different when a child does get infected. It affects them differently just because, you know, their mind isn't fully developed or their brain.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if
I do feel like I prefer this version of zombies over, like, the ones that, like, move really slowly. But I guess I can understand both takes on it, because if it is a person that's, you know, not so much a person anymore, I can understand why it would be slow moving and not capable of all these, like, healthy human movements and everything. But I don't know, these are just so much more scarier. They're like mindless, but in a different way. Like, it's just,
I mean, they are smart.
yeah. But it's just like a one-track mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like they're so much more brutal than the, like, slow-moving ones. Like, they have the same goal, but their ways of, like, going about, like, killing and infecting others or eating people is just...
They're almost like stalkers from The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And then they stop all of a sudden, right? Like, there's... I feel like the movie shows them stopping when people leave the room and they just kind of, like, go mindless because they don't have anything to chase.
Yeah.
But that wasn't always the case. Even when we first see Cillian Murphy encounter them, like, they just stare at him. Right? Like, they don't even chase him. They're just staring at him because they heard a noise.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, they go chase him after, but it is like, it takes a second.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they had been just, like, laying there for, like, a long period of time, clearly, because no moving, like, humans had been around them. So they just kind of seemed to go, like, stationary. Like,
yeah. So they are they are smarter than your average zombie, but not quite to the level of, what's that movie you made me watch? The Japanese one or the Taiwan?
Train to Busan?
No.
What are you talking?
The one where they're all
the sadness?
horrible people, yeah.
The sadness.
That one. They're not quite as to that level of smartness because they're still them. They're still human. They're just angry, right? Or filled with sadness.
Yeah. On relation to the infected, one of my notes is about influences. So early influences on writer Alex Garland included the George A. Romero films of The Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, which he loved as a child. He claimed to have largely forgotten about the zombie genre until he played the video game Resident Evil.
Oh, cool.
Which reminded him how much he loved zombies after having not really encountered zombies for quite a while. During the initial marketing of the film, Boyle tried to distance the film from such labels. He identified John Wyndham's 1951 novel, The Day of the Triffids, as Garland's original inspiration for this story. I just want to mention that because I feel like, so I think I've seen Night of the Living Dead like a while ago. I don't remember much of it. And then I watched like part of the opening sequence because I was trying to figure out, this movie always gets credited as like the one who like created running zombies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Night of the Living Dead, they like the opening sequence does have one that's like kind of running, not like full on sprinting, but like moving a little quicker. And I did find it interesting because that zombie in the opening sequence as well, like grabs a rock and tries to break a window. And I
Mm-hmm.
think is even trying to like open the door, like car door with the handle and stuff. So it was interesting because my mindset nowadays is so like, I don't know, like the Walking Dead type walkers, zombies, where they're just kind of like moving towards humans
Yeah.
and trying to attack them and not using any tools and not opening doors or anything. Like there doesn't seem to be like that intelligence. It's just the move towards humans, bite things. But yeah, in that one it seemed like they did, and that's like, you know, one of like the original things that we all have taken zombie lore from.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, you know, has its own unique take as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I could see why they wanted to steer clear from the word zombie. Because I don't think I ever heard when this movie came out and I went to go see it in the theater. I think I saw it in the theater. Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, let's go see this zombie film. I don't think it was that. I think it was more, oh, let's go see this film about a virus or something, as opposed to the zombie thing.
Yeah.
About this crazy virus that enrages people. But yeah, I could see how people would have different expectations if it was a zombie film. I don't know. Yeah.
What I really like about this film is characters do have like story arcs. You see them change over time. So like
Mm-hmm.
Cillian Murphy, Jem, he starts off and he's kind of like running around not knowing what to do and following other people's lead. And even in like when they first encounter the dad, Frank, and then Hannah, like they're running up the stairs and he's like, Selena, Selena, like, you know, like chasing her,
Yeah.
like, don't leave me, Selena, wait, like, you know, like panicking. So you can see that he's definitely not like, he's not handling this well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see him change over time. You see him, so like they go in the tunnel. And first of all, he was against that, which I would agree. Don't go in the tunnel. But he's, you know, sitting there like guarding the car, comfortable, like standing there now, like ready to go after stuff. You see a little bit more of bravery then, and then later on, obviously he goes full when he saves Selena and Hannah at the end.
Yeah.
I did find it funny though that like in the tunnel he's like, no, we shouldn't do this. We should go the long way. That's safer. That's in the daylight, you know, out in the open. But then you also see him when they go to that like gas station or like restaurant place. He goes inside when he kills the little boy. And it's like, why are you, but you just said about how the tunnel isn't safe, but now you're going into this diner thing that you don't have to go into. It's not safe. You're like leaving the other people out there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I found that kind of funny.
Yeah,
But I guess that,
he almost seems like a child to me. Don't you feel
yeah.
that way? Like he's got these like childish tendencies.
Which, I mean, it looks like he lived at home with his parents,
Yeah.
right?
So that's probably part of his whole background is he's more because he seems older, but he really loves his parents. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
he lived with his parents, but he's not like a teenager. He's like probably like in his 30s, almost his 30s or something, late 20s.
I don't know. I feel like we think that now, but who knows? I can't tell people's ages
Yeah,
anymore.
maybe it's just because it's Cillian Murphy and he's just kind of has a unique face. But yeah, no, you're right about the character work. All of it is really great. Him and even just Selena too.
Yeah,
Like
I
she
was
just
gonna say Selena also good arc.
like she doesn't want to trust anybody. She's first to, you know, if you see somebody turning, just don't question it, just kill them. But
Yeah.
you and she ends up changing her mind about that and trusting people.
Hmm.
The whole
Yeah, you see
go ahead.
her with she's with Mark in the beginning. Is that the guy's name? I think
I think so.
when they find Jem and Mark gets bit and she kills him, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like no care in the world. Doesn't seem to like care about it after the fact. She just tells him you only have a few seconds to kill. Like once they get infected, like you just do it. It doesn't matter who it is. Like you kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, she has that wall up of caring for people because you can't care for people and then kill them that easily. But you see that change once she spends more time with Jim and Frank and Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see her when she finally breaks down, it's over Hannah losing Hannah's dad.
Yeah.
I find that really interesting that it's not even about any pain that she's had to deal with. It's about watching a girl lose her dad.
Yeah.
And how she doesn't want Hannah to have to deal with that and to adapt to that.
Yeah, it's yeah, I mean that was a great moment. That's the better choice, I would say. Direction wise,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, she's been like this strong person, walled off, who has been hardened by all this crazy shit that she's seen, and now
Mm-hmm.
she knows that this same you know girl or this girl Hannah is gonna lose her innocence and become more like her.
Yeah. And it also, shows that she cares for Hannah and why, she's really worried about her later on when all the soldiers are going to try and freaking rape them and stuff. It's very much she wants to protect Hannah and save Hannah. And then it's, she finally, when she thinks Jim is infected, she hesitates. Whereas before she wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So she doesn't end up killing him. And then luckily, because he
Yeah.
wasn't infected.
Yeah, it all comes back around.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of yeah, everything, all the themes come back around. Even yeah, that part where yeah, because she didn't hesitate with Mark, but she ended up hesitating with Jim, and that's what
Yeah.
saved his life.
Yeah. So I think this film actually has like good writing. If
Mm-hmm.
you break it down and everything. And I think it's, it kind of does the typical who are the real monsters, You're living in this world of like monsters, but there's still humans that are monsters. Like the soldiers end up being like disgusting people.
Yeah.
I think that's like a thing zombie films and shows do. But I think it was done in an interesting way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is not just a zombie film. Like it's really more about the characters and just humans in general.
Yeah.
Which is probably why this movie is so famous, because of the writing, and not just because it has fast zombies. Though that's probably what people remember it by.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what did you think? It is kind of crazy that at the end, when Cillian Murphy's running around killing people,
Mm-hmm.
is are his scenes in that moment filmed exactly like the zombie
It does feel
shots?
like it, right? That's what I was like. They really are just like kind of making him look like one of the infected. Like he has the rage. Like,
Yeah, so I'm wondering what that was about. Like, I'm sure there's more there. Just sort of this innate human rage, not anything to
yeah,
do with biological viruses, you know?
that we're all capable of that in
Mm.
certain circumstances.
Yeah.
And he really gave into it, but it was for a purpose and it was to protect his own. And he had to become a monster to kill the monsters.
Which weren't
but,
actually
but
literal
yes,
monsters. They were just.
yes, which ended up being not the monsters you would expect him to have to take care of. And he actually used the infected against the soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all very,
Yeah, I kind of want to see that his scenes again to see if they are switching over to the zombie camera style, which
yeah,
I feel like they are, right? I feel like they did do that.
I think so.
That whole scene, that whole section was interesting, especially since it was rainy and so parts of it like you couldn't see and everything was shiny because of the rain or the water.
Yeah. There's a
Uh,
couple like really good shots of the infected. So there's one in the tunnel where it like flashes like a red light on it. I don't know if that's supposed to be from like the brake lights or something, but that was a cool shot. And then my favorite though is the one when the chained zombie is like let loose and he shows up in the window behind one of the soldiers.
oh yeah.
Like that's such a good shot with the eyes and everything and
Hmm.
the rain behind him and then he breaks through the window. Like
And the thing about that shot too is if you were to put that same shot in any other film, you would think it's cheesy. But
mhm.
like in this one, since the zombies are shot like in this choppy style, like
Mhm.
it just makes perfect sense that he would just all of a sudden be there. Like you're already buying into the, oh, that's just the style, and that's how
Yeah.
just zombies move really quickly, and you don't know where.
Also they have like more like almost like rock type instrumentals like when the like infected are running and killing things and ravaging and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, during the gym scene, you have the like iconic music
hmm
start to play, but like other times in the movie, it's they really play up more rock style. Um, I like that there were little hints along the way that the soldiers weren't who you initially thought they were.
hmm
I feel like you hear this thing being transmitted over the radio and then you see them and they're all in like military gear and stuff and they have this base and it's all protected and everything, so you're like, cool, people that know what they're doing. Soldiers are, you respect soldiers, you expect them to have a certain code and everything, which is not always true.
hmm
Gonna be bad and say that, but um but there's like little things, little by little. There's the fact that like the dad of this girl just died. They bring them in. They don't really seem to care about that. They take their car and are like joyriding it in the front of the house, and that's like the girl's home family car, her dad's car, and the dad just died. And they're just like playing with it. You see the main guy later drinking the dad's like whiskey.
Yeah, I know.
Like there's just like all these like little things. And then you also see like when they are shooting the infected that start coming, the one guy like shoots one and is like, I got one. And so it's like, clearly these aren't like military people that have like done this a bunch before. And just like having them communicate with each other is just like, seems like they're like sloppy.
Mm-hmm. So do you think they weren't military at all? They just had some uniforms and
I
guns?
think some of them might have been.
You think the main guy was probably a military leader or of some sort?
Um, Probably him, and then probably that other guy that ended up being like good.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I feel like he was probably like real military, but a couple of them were definitely like not seeming. And just because they're military, again, doesn't mean that they're necessarily good.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of military people have done really horrible things during wars.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, it's war. People do crazy shit during wars.
yep, yep. But it's just interesting because I feel like so often in movies, when the military is shown, it's like, yes, we're safe. And that's probably what you think initially with these people and what they're thinking. And then slowly you start to see, like, oh.
Yeah, one of the okay, so one of the things I remember vividly about this movie, well, there's three things. There's the scene with the blood, the the dad catching the drop
Yep.
in his eye of blood and turning. Of course, that's iconic, and I remember that scene vividly. I also remember the scene where where Selena tries to drug Hannah so she wouldn't care.
Okay.
I don't know why, but like I think I remember when I first saw it, this whole like rapey vibe that started happening. I think it was just like I didn't expect it to go there, and it was just kind of shocking.
Yeah. No, it
It's-
is shocking.
And so I remember that vividly, that specific scene where she's here, no, drink this so you won't care, or take this.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing is just Cillian Murphy's acting.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when he's just going crazy and killing everybody. And then when he stabs the guy and he's just what is that like reaction? Like he's liking it or something. Like he's just like I don't know, like he's having like this moment.
You really do see that they're all survivors at that point. Because, like, Hannah's like, are you trying to kill me? And it's like, no, I'm trying to make you, like, not care. And so, like, they had enough pills that they could probably just try and, like, down them all and commit suicide. But they still want to survive. So it's like, how do we survive this? How do we, like, get past this? Let's drug ourselves so that, like, we don't care about what's happening to ourselves. This is how we will handle it in this moment. And then, yeah, you see Jim come in and do what he has to protect them and save them. So they're all just doing what they have to in the situation that they've been put in.
Yeah. Let's talk about the music.
So the main theme is called In the House in a Heartbeat by John Murphy. That song, so it's used in the sequel, and it's also used in other films and trailers. So it's in the trailer for I Know Who Killed Me. I think it's in the movie Kick-Ass that was written down. And then it's in the Metro 2033 trailer, which I think was an especially good use.
The
one when, like, Jim is running around killing
okay.
people.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So
That's been used in, like, multiple other things.
But was that written for this movie?
I believe so.
Oh, interesting. And they
I
just
think,
used it in other things, huh?
Yeah. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure he's the composer for this whole thing. And I don't think he had a lot of time to work on it from what I read. Yeah, composer John Murphy.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's the one that wrote that song and all the others. So
Yeah, the music is. Let me just say how much you can elevate your movie by having great music in it. And
mhm.
it's not even a lot. It's just like very minimal
Yeah,
sounds. And it all feels very angelic. You know, like it has this like angelic vibe to it. It's, I guess when they're just traveling and it's just minimal music, and I think
hmm.
there's just like one choir voice at one point. So it feels sort of both haunting but also angelic. And then of
The
course you have those
traveling scene was
scenes.
very. It's very like a lighthearted moment.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, even when they go to the store, it switches to like this happy
Hmm.
jingle, but it fits so well. Like it's still, like I'm glad they didn't have like these crazy licensed
Yes.
music songs.
Yeah. But it's still like, yeah, that one song is like iconic and used in other things nowadays. And like, it just fits so perfectly. And it's not like, I don't even think you don't even pay attention to it always. It's just part of the scene. It's like a character in itself.
Hmm. Even the light metal, which I don't know if that's such a thing, but soft metal.
Yeah.
Um, that is, yeah. When like things do start getting chaotic with the zombies, you can hear the metal music,
Yeah.
and that's really cool too. But it's not also, it's not so overpowering too. Like, oh, we're just gonna introduce some crazy metal soundtrack here. Like it does seem like it blends in with the main theme. Like at some point, you just have the main theme, and then softly this metal music starts coming in and during those intense scenes, which is really cool.
And that main scene has like a build up to it. What other fun facts do I have? There's a lot about athletes being casted as infected, which I could totally see. I think that's like more so even in the second one. I was saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And 28 years or weeks later, it's like athletes and like dancers and stuff that they used. I think the people in the church were like college students that like volunteered to be in it or something.
Oh, really?
Um, there was mention of so when they're all like celebrating and like eating the food and stuff after getting the groceries, that was being filmed while like 9/11 was happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're like shooting this like celebratory scene on a day that actual like really bad stuff was like going down. And they just talked about how that, felt really strange and uncomfortable. Um, there was mention of so like the opening sequence, the like footage that the chimps watching
Mm-hmm.
is all stuff that they filmed, but it was inspired by like actual like footage from Rwanda and Sierra Leone. So like such as the piling of the bodies inside churches, that was like another thing that they took inspiration from these scenes. The social unrest in those areas. And news footage was based off of shots by journalists. How do you say his name again? Sarius Samura
Mm-hmm.
in Sierra Leone. He made a film. What was it?
That's interesting
He
that they were all shot and not just stock footage from.
So yeah, so he did a documentary called Cry Freetown. He was one of the like what's it called for Blood Diamond. He was like what's the word? Like not an expert, but like let me find out. Why can't I think of that word right now? Blood Diamond film consultant.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
consultant.
yeah. So that guy, they took a lot of inspiration from footage that he had filmed. The whole thing was they drew a line at using any actual footage from incidents,
Mm-hmm.
which I majorly respect because I always wonder about that and how people feel about that when you see like news footage being used in films. I'm like, I don't know, there's something kind of like gross about it to me, about taking like actual people in these horrible moments and using it for entertainment. So I understand taking inspiration from it, but I like the way they did it. They took inspiration, but they made their own footage.
Yeah.
I think that is the more respectful way to do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. Uh, is that the stuff I have?
Can I go back to the 28 days later part? Because
Um,
because
yeah.
I'm still confused how he was in the hospital for 28 days.
Yeah, so I was trying to look up that
Mm-hmm.
and see like how long somebody could survive or something because that's I mentioned that with like The Walking Dead. Rick wakes up, but I think it's explained in that show at some point that like somebody was there like helping take care of patients still or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know about this. And I don't know like I don't know how bad things went and how quickly, but I mean his parents looked like they had been dead for a hot minute.
I mean, maybe they were just dead for a month, right? They, they could look like a month.
Yeah, but he couldn't survive, I don't think, with any type of, you know, because I'm like, it's showing, so it shows like the chimps breaking out, and then it's 28 days later from then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, things necessarily aren't going to be like gone the next day, you know? Like, it's gonna probably, the outbreak's gonna take a few days at least, right? For things to get like real crazy. Like, maybe some people were still staying in hospitals and trying to help patients and locking things down or, you know,
Okay,
something. But I just, yeah.
so let's look at this poster. Since it's explained to us each day that something happens.
Okay, so day 15 is evacuation.
Okay, so he, let's say he got ran over by some car, right? Isn't that the explanation?
Mm-hmm.
On day one.
Yeah.
Okay, he goes in the hospital. There's there's more infected coming in, or more people hurt. It's chaos. And then day 15, they get the order to evacuate. And so they
Mm-hmm.
leave Killian Murphy on the table. And like, okay, sorry,
Yeah.
buddy, we're just gonna have to leave. So 15 to 28, so eight. How is that?
Couple
13.
weeks.
So that's 2 weeks without food and water. You wouldn't be able to survive that long, right? 2 weeks.
I mean, food, maybe. I mean, he probably still had like an IV and stuff, right? But like, that's only gonna last so long.
Yeah. Okay, let's say some really nice nurse decided to stay. Oh man, I gotta feed this guy. 1 week. she stays and then she dies or something, or she's like, you know what, screw this guy, I'm leaving. Cause so I guess I don't know. It could happen, I guess. Now that I think about it, it's not that far out there that he's in this hospital in a coma for 28 days.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. I'd be interested to hear some doctor talk about it. But yeah, I always wonder that in movies and shows that have that type of setup.
I'm curious to see how long a person would survive just in a hospital bed with an IV, and if you just left them there, how long? You know,
Yeah.
because he is really thirsty when he wakes up, right? He like drinks this soda, gobbles up the soda, the Pepsi.
Yeah. Um, were the pile of the bodies by the soldiers, like, you know how they went to kill Jim and that other guy? Were those just regular people or were those infected? Could you tell?
Um, I want to say they were regular people,
That's what I thought too.
right? I guess. I mean, they do clean up the bodies from the lawn, so I wonder where
Yeah.
they put those.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be a mix. I don't know.
Probably a mix, right? I was just wondering if that like kind of showed more to those soldiers and stuff too. Especially like, I don't know, maybe if anybody came to them that weren't women, they'd just kill them.
Yeah.
Like you promised us women. We don't want these men, kill them. Um did you okay, so the one guy was telling Jem when they were both like handcuffed before being taken off that they were just on a quarantine island basically.
Yeah.
That in the rest of the world, you know, they were fine because this didn't spread. He was like, how would this have jumped oceans and stuff? It didn't. It's just all been contained here. We've been quarantined on this island and left to like die basically. So you like question that because I was like, well, have they seen any like planes or anything? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you would think planes would be flying over or something if that is true. Like, but we do see a plane at the end, right? So do you think that's true?
I don't know.
I don't really remember the next movie,
Yeah.
like what the lore is behind it or whatever, but just with this film only. Do you think there's truth to that since we do see a plane later?
I think, yeah, I think there is some truth to it. Um, yeah, it'd be kind of interesting if that were the canon. You know, they just quarantine all of the UK
Yeah.
and the rest of the world is fine. But now I'm wondering, like, what are their attempts to try to save people? Obviously,
Yeah.
they have planes flying above, and even Killian Murphy sees one too before that final scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I like that theory more.
Yeah.
That the
I
rest
think
of the
it's
world
interesting.
is just fine, and they're just watching this island get devastated by with this deadly virus. That they don't know what to do. They don't know whether to bomb the whole thing or just let them kill each other. Or
There would be like so much public discourse over that and so much like division between if that was true.
mm-hmm.
Because you'd have the sides of the people that are like, we can't like we can't risk all of humanity for these people. Like it's horrible that these people are gonna have to die, but so be it. Like we can't like, you know, let this get farther. But also you'd have all the people that would be like rioting and protesting against like letting people just die horribly and everything, you know. And I
Um,
mean, you have riots and protests even nowadays about
yeah.
things, but yeah, it would be a huge thing.
Hmm. Well, Selena does say that she heard about New York and then Paris.
Yes.
So was that all propaganda, you think?
I don't know. I think I think it's gotten out other places. I
Hmm.
think maybe there's places with bigger groups of people that are safe. Just kind of, I mean, think about like The Last of Us as these different groups and areas that are quarantined and safe, right?
Hmm.
You have these different, like, almost government type things. Um, so I think there's that possibility. I think it's more of that. I think that it would be possible for this to spread like crazy, you know.
Well,
It is,
now I'm thinking about maybe it's not so hard to contain this virus. You know?
I think that one of the differences with this versus other like viruses in movies and stuff is how quickly it does infect people, right?
Hmm.
And how obvious their symptoms are. I mean, other zombie movies are like this too, but
I mean, yeah,
versus,
I remember when the pandemic happened and they were talking about coronavirus, and it wasn't. Um, I don't know. I think I heard that they were saying that it wasn't. It could have been much worse if the virus rested or just remained inert in people longer, so that you wouldn't show symptoms, and so you would just be
yeah,
spreading it more. Whereas this, like, you can immediately you're turning 10 seconds, so it's like it wouldn't be able to travel by plane. Do you know what I mean? Like, you would know.
that was kind of what I was thinking. But I still think, I don't know, something could happen. Look at Train to Busan. Like, the things get on trains and stuff. And so, like, who knows? Maybe it could have just gotten on a ship, you know? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's different. Zombie viruses are usually different from, like, I don't know, like the film Contagion,
Right.
where, like, those are people that are, like, sick. And while they, like, have what they think is just a cold, they're, like, out and about meeting people, going to parties and stuff. So, like, obviously that spreads quicker
Hmm.
and can spread farther because they don't realize that they're infecting other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Either way, I think it is possible for it to spread to other places. And I mean, this isn't like they're in the UK. It's not like they're like Hawaii or a different, island, right?
Hmm.
Like they're still pretty close to the other like land masses.
Yeah. In what movie was it where they isolated Manhattan and they blew up all the
Batman.
bridges? Oh, was it Batman? Maybe it was Batman.
Gotham, you mean?
Yeah, Gotham.
um yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the next one now.
Okay. What did you what did you think of the car freeze frame at the end?
Oh yeah, the
They
freeze
break through
frame.
the gate and then it like they go forward and it freezes. I don't know why it makes me giggle. Like I started laughing at that moment.
It's definitely a choice.
I don't know that I understand that choice. I don't know, but it also kind of like I don't know, it made me happy. And then also the choice of hello.
Yeah.
What I wonder Was it to show like that technically they were okay, but they did want to see other people? So it wasn't like help. It wasn't like we need help right now. We're dying. It's kind of like a friendlier,
Mm-hmm.
less threatening message. Because help, maybe, help could show that like there's infected nearby or something.
Yeah.
But hello is like, we're cool, but also we're here. Hey.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. The hello makes more sense now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Originally, I was like, why did you take all this time to create the extra fabric to write another L and an O, where you can just write help?
Yeah.
But like,
I just said they should have left it at hell.
I mean, they are
Yeah,
trying to
no.
show, yeah, there's people here and we're okay and we're getting some
We're
sense
not
of normalcy,
infected.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm fine with it. It was just kind of like surprising. And I think they probably kind of wanted to subvert the expectation,
Mm-hmm.
and then have it say hello. Because normally it would say either help or SOS. But I think it could be explained why it says that.
Yeah, but the freeze frame, yeah, I like it too. I just don't know
I don't know
why.
why.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's so like clearly you know that they're okay. And it's just like it could have been the end of the film right there. Maybe it was going to be at some point or something. I think they did have I don't know if they had an ending where they did die or something. I think they redid the ending. And then they got more money to redo the ending because the ending was testing badly or something. So then
Really?
the studio finally approved it. Forget what the original ending was. I don't know that I've seen. 20 days later, original ending. Let's see.
It was probably really tragic. Like everybody died or something.
Yeah, I think he dies. Oh, is there actual video? Huh. Okay, maybe we'll watch this later. Yeah, I think if nothing else, he died from his gunshot wound.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember hearing that. I might have seen this actual video before too.
I wonder if this alternate ending, or the ending that we did get, part of it was seeing the zombies on the floor starving to death. That also showing that, there is some hope left. They're all dying of starvation.
Yeah. Yeah, we never really got our answer about
How long?
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, I'm wondering if it is just the same time a human would starve to death,
Interesting question to think about. Yeah, freeze frame random, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Something fun about it.
I liked it too. Somehow it works.
Somehow it works. And I think that's kind of a lot of this movie is they just did things their own way and it works out. And it shows that, they've got an interesting style, but they know what they're doing. We'll see how we feel about 28 weeks later.
Yeah.
I know the opening sequence is a thing people usually talk about and like. I think I watched it last year or two after I watched this. Or maybe it was 2 years ago, but I liked it, but not as much. And like I said, it feels more like Hollywood and Jeremy Renner is in it and stuff.
Yeah.
So, But we'll see. We'll be back for that. I don't know when we're doing that. Tomorrow, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Or
We'll
sometime
see.
this weekend.
Pretty soon. So, Luis,
Mm-hmm.
what are you looking forward to?
What am I looking forward to? I think I already said 28 years later, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. So I'll pick something else.
I was gonna just say that. Make it an easy way out. Our little way of wrapping this up,
Hmm.
ending on a
Are
positive
you
note.
are you are you looking forward to Superman?
No, I do not like Superman.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm I'm looking forward to hearing Angry Joe's thoughts on it. There we go.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. Like there is this hype over it, and I feel like a lot of people are talking about it, and it's James Gunn, and it's just. But yeah, again, yeah, I'm not the biggest Superman fan. I don't have that nostalgia like other people do.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking forward to potential thunderstorms this weekend in certain parts of the country.
really? Here?
Nope,
Where?
I don't know. It may rain on somebody's parade.
Mmm. That's a song.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, hopefully. We'll see.
All right, we'll call it here.
All right.
I'll be back for 28 weeks later.
All
I'm
right.
looking forward to that too, even if it's not as good as this one.
Yeah, me too. Again, I haven't seen it in a while, so. All right, everyone. Have a good
See
one.
you next time.
Bye.
Bye.